Their object was to destroy the scriptures, the Old and the New Testament. And they are quite proud of it, as we saw in one of our previous lectures. Here is the church destroying Calvin and Luther, and this little mischievous creature here, which they call an angel, is tearing apart the scriptures that Martin Luther gave to the world. So their aim was to destroy the Protestant Bible. Here is another quote from Letters and Manuscripts. Now, what does Satan propose to do? He proposes that he is capable of changing this Bible. Now, Martin, this was written in 1910. These parties that fell understand all about heaven. This is talking about demons. And they can bring in the different sentiments from the Bible, and they're going to have a revision of it. Interesting, written in 1910. You will see that they will make a revisions of the Bible, but every one of us needs to stand intelligently on the Word. We cannot afford to be careless, but we must have that simplicity of godliness that is a virtue to us. We must have it. Now, this author was exposed to some of the early new manuscripts, like the Revised Version, and she used it sometimes when it was not doctrinal in nature. When it was doctrinal in nature, she always used the King James Version. But in any sermon, she never deviated from the King James. And the more she wrote and the closer she came to her end of her life, she never used them anymore.
That's true.
Here's another document from 1906. Do you desire to destroy the covenant between yourselves and your God? A perpetual covenant means just what it says. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. God declares, for in 6 days the Lord made the heaven, the earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. This is our evidence. You will see ere long that there will be those who will become weary of hearing repeated the things that they ought to do, but do not desire to do. And they will change the wording of the Bible, written in 1906. We know what the Lord says in Revelation about those who do that. A perpetual covenant is a perpetual covenant. They will change the Bible. She was using the King James Bible.
Yes. And like you said, for doctrinal purposes, you can search right through the writings.
Yes.
There, in fact, you can search it when there's disputes on certain verses, like we've mentioned Genesis 6 verse 12, where the modern translations say that the heavenly beings came. If you do go through the writings of the spirit of prophecy, it's clearly stating that that was the line of Cain and not heavenly beings.
Yes, and not only that, Martin, if a verse is missing in the new translations, which is many times the case, sometimes she wrote whole paragraphs or chapters on the missing verses.
True.
So obviously she didn't use those to write about the missing verses. Wilkinson, in our Authorized Bible Vindicated, writes the following. We will gain control of instructions in law, talking about the Jesuits, or what their statements are. These are quotes of their statements. And that's why I put this little mischievous creature, this demonic little thing over here that is tearing the scriptures of the Protestants apart, in the picture again. We will gain control of instruction in law, medicine, science, education, and so weed out from all books of instruction anything injurious to Roman Catholicism. Martin, you cannot trust a modern encyclopedia. They're lying to you. In the different Protestant faiths, sooner or later, we will undermine the authority of the Greek New Testament of Erasmus. That's the one that the Protestant Bibles, the New Testament, is based on. And also of those Old Testament productions which have dared to raise their head against the Old Testament of the Vulgate and against tradition. and thus will we undermine the Protestant Reformation. This is what they said.